Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant editions of John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose on Amazon.com today.
Hollywood Historical Men in Crisis. One of my viewers wanted me to do another installment in the Hollywood Historical Men in Crisis series. And for this installment in the Hollywood Historical Men in Crisis series, I'm going to be talking about Christopher Wallace, also known as Notorious B.I.G. Now, Notorious B.I.G., or Biggie Smalls as he was called, was a legendary rapper from the 1990s who was a major staple of what they called East Coast rap at the time. Now, Notorious B.I.G. had all the talent in the world to become a superstar. Unfortunately, due to the dysfunctional way he was raised without a father, instead of him actualizing his potential and becoming a high-level A-list entertainer, he wound up becoming a man in crisis. Now, Notorious B.I.G. was born Christopher George Latour Wallace in 1972 to Jamaican immigrant parents. Now, his mother was a preschool teacher and his father was a welder and a politician. And the father, Selwyn George Latour Wallace, wound up leaving the family when he was 2 years old, and after the father left, his mother, Violetta Wallace, had to go to work to 2 jobs to raise him. And as she was looking to try to raise her boy to become a man of character, sadly, Christopher George Latour Wallace wound up on the road to becoming a man in crisis because while his mother was working, there was nobody there to give him any sort of supervision or guidance. Moreover, there was no father in the home to establish any sort of structure or order for the boy to grow up to become a healthy man of character. Now, as Christopher George Latour Wallace's mother was working and looking to raise her boy to become excellent in Catholic schools, working 2 jobs to pay for those schools, Christopher George Wallace was out here dealing drugs as young as he was 12 years old. And he was called Big back when he was young, when he was 10 years old, because he was overweight. And as he was overweight, he was running around in the streets again at 12 years old, going out here dealing drugs and selling poison to his own people. Now, as he was out here selling drugs, he also was out here rapping on these streets and performed with local groups such as the Old Gold Brothers and the Techniques under the stage name MC West. And he also got guidance from jazz saxophonist Donald Harrison, who lived nearby, but because there was no father in the home, sadly, he didn't get any guidance from a man and a foundation of structure. And as he was out here again going to different schools. Was in schools, and he transferred to Bishop Laughlin Memorial High School from Fort Greene to Westinghouse Carver Career Education in downtown Brooklyn, where rappers like Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes had gone to school. Now, Christopher Wallace was a good student. Unfortunately, he had no discipline, and because he had no discipline, this is why he dropped out of school and started to get more involved in crime. Now, he got involved with crime again because there was no father in the home to provide structure and no mother in the home to give him nurturing, and because he had no parents to teach him, he learned about life on the streets And as he learned about life on the streets and after dropping out of high school, he got arrested in 1989 on weapons charges and got put on probation, then got arrested once again for violating that probation, and then a year after that got arrested in North Carolina for dealing crack cocaine and spent 9 months in jail before making bail. Now, as he was dealing with all of these issues as related to his criminal record, this is where Christopher Wallace made a demo tape calling himself Biggie Smalls, inspired by the Calvin Lockhart character from the 1975 movie Let's Do It Again, and also as related to his own size and obesity, because Biggie Smalls was 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed 300 to 380 pounds, and he went out here and made this tape and put it out there. But eventually, rappers like DJ Mr. C, who worked with Big Daddy Kane and the Juice Crew, found it and promoted it. And it was also heard by the Sources magazine editor in 1992. And this is what led to Christopher Wallace going out here and getting noticed by people in the entertainment industry. And when Sean P. Puffy Combs heard this song, he basically arranged to meet with Christopher Wallace and signed him up to a label that he was working for, Uptown, at the time. And as he signed him up for that label, this is what happened was that Puffy Combs wound up getting fired. But after he got fired, Puffy launched his legendary label, Bad Boy Records, and signed Christopher Wallace to a deal and signed him to this deal, which started laying the foundation for Christopher Wallace's rap career as Notorious B.I.G. Now, Notorious B.I.G. had his girlfriend gave birth to his first child in 1993. Even though they were not together, Christopher Wallace wanted to go out here and give his daughter everything that he wanted. Unfortunately, he didn't have a foundation in manhood to know that a father's job is to nurture his daughter and also provide the structure that would allow that daughter to grow up in a healthy environment. So what he did was look to go out here and buy his daughter, which is what many beta males try to do to overcompensate because they don't know how to be a man or how to raise a daughter like a man. So he wanted to go out here and be out here and continue to try to give his daughter what he wanted. And as he was out here rapping, he was out here still selling drugs to people and looking to do this because he wanted to create this make his gangsta image appear to be legit, which was in contrast to Tupac Shakur, who was out here presenting a gangsta image but never really lived that gangsta image. In contrast, Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G., had been moving around in these streets, and as he had been moving around in these streets because he had no family to give him structure, Notorious B.I.G. was trying to live that image until Puff Daddy Combs told him to stop selling drugs because that would really harm his image and his brand that Puff Daddy was trying to build as related to Notorious B.I.G.'s reputation in the entertainment industry. Now, this is what Puff Daddy was trying to do, was build a brand around Notorious B.I.G., and he was looking to build that brand to make him into a star. So while he wanted him to have the image of a thug as related to the character they were creating, he didn't want him in the streets to be a liability to the brand as they were looking to build the brand around him. And it was around this time that Notorious B.I.G. started getting exposure with the remix of Mary J. Blige's Real Love single, which came out in 1993, I think. And this was building his brand. And around this time, this is where Biggie wound up meeting legendary rapper Tupac Shakur, and the two became friends with each other and oftentimes spent time hanging out with each other. And this is where Tupac learned a lot more about the streets from Biggie. And as he was out here, this is where Biggie started building his brand with After Real Love, with the remix of What's the 411 from Mary J. Blige, and also was on some remixes of Nena Cherry's song Buddy X and Supercat's Dolly My Baby, and also went on to make other tracks, and he appeared on other people's albums until he decided to go out here. And he was also on Craig Mack's Flavor in Your Ear remix. So he was on a lot of remixes, and then eventually went out here and put out his own debut album. And this is where he put out his own debut album, Ready to Die, which was a huge hit. And that album basically had a lot of classic songs on it. And that whole album basically made Notorious B.I.G. into a major star who was rising in the world of entertainment, and rising in the world of entertainment to become a major player. I mean, he was working with many great stars. I mean, he even worked with the legendary late Michael Jackson on a song called This Time Around, which was featured on Michael Jackson's History. I mean, he was out here being a major star on his way, and was rising up in the world of not only gangster rap, but was also rising in the world of entertainment. And around this time, this is where he also met women like Little Kim, who he had worked with, and again was out here in the world of entertainment, and also wound up doing a lot of different things, not only just doing rap music, but he was also going out here and starring in movies and getting acting jobs, like getting rap acting jobs in movies, and also made an appearance on the show Martin. I remember that iconic episode of Martin with Martin Lawrence, where Notorious B.I.G. was on that whole episode, and this was the start of Notorious B.I.G. going on the road to acting, and was on that road to becoming a bigger star. Now, around this time, he was also got married to Faith Evans, and after he got married to Faith Evans, this is where he got involved with her, and he was really, again, cool with a lot of people like Shaquille O'Neal. Again, he had all the foundations for becoming a major star. Unfortunately, due to the dysfunctional way he was raised without a father, sadly, what happened to Notorious B.I.G. was he got caught up in the world of the streets, and as he got caught up in the world of the streets, he started to go out here and get involved in the underbelly of what gangster rap was, going out here trying to make himself appear to be a real gangster, and that basically wound up undermining Notorious B.I.G.'s talent and potential, because as he got out here, he started to get into different kinds of beefs, and one of the beefs that basically led to him getting jammed up was his beef with his former friend Tupac Shakur. Now, this whole beef between Biggie and Tupac was a part of this whole East Coast, West Coast thing, which many, like Sean Combs, wanted to turn into a marketing stunt to get people into the gangster rap genre. What they wanted to do with the East Coast, West Coast beef was look to use it to sell East Coast and West Coast rappers in this whole beef. And this whole beef really just turned into something personal between Biggie and Tupac, who were former friends. And as these two former friends just got into this beef, this basically led to people speculating that Notorious B.I.G. and Sean Combs might have possibly had prior knowledge of a robbery that possibly led to Tupac Shakur winding up getting shot, and this possibly led to the violation of trust between Biggie and Tupac, which led to their entire friendship winding up breaking up, and further escalated the feud. But as this feud escalated, it just led to a lot of dysfunction, and that dysfunction further put Notorious B.I.G. down the road to becoming an MAN in crisis, as he was out here in the late 90s after the death of Tupac Shakur and allegations that he was involved with it. And this led to Notorious B.I.G. becoming arrested outside of a Manhattan nightclub for chasing and threatening to kill two fans for seeking autographs, attacking them in the taxi cab, and punching one of them. Now, this basically led to Notorious B.I.G. pleading guilty to second-degree harassment and doing 100 hours of community service, and he was also arrested once again for drug and weapons possession charges. And as things went on, he went out here and still was getting into back and forth with Tupac Shakur, and they both confronted each other at the Soul Train Awards. This is in 1996, and the entire Hit 'Em Up track, which Tupac made, was all about taking shots at Notorious B.I.G. And sadly, everything ended with Tupac sadly winding up passing away a couple of months later in that confrontation with real gang members. Now, some wanted to say Notorious B.I.G. was involved with this, but there was no evidence of this. But what happened with Tupac's death basically was it added fuel to the fire to the Biggie-Tupac feud, and basically showed what happens when you have two males who don't know how to go out here and conflict resolve and want to use this conflict to sell more records, but the conflict got out of control because, one, Tupac started to believe all of the hype around himself being a real thug, not understanding this was all a social construct made by white supremacy, one, and two, it was a marketing stunt for those in the white media to go out here and promote the image of a black brute and use both of these men to promote the black brute as the image of the ideal for black men. And sadly, Biggie and Tupac got caught in the middle of all of this, not seeing what was happening as related to this entire situation. Both of these men, sadly, because there was no father in their life to give them guidance on how to navigate themselves in the entertainment industry, really didn't understand that they were being puppets in their system, and they were puppets in their system that were basically being used as tools to promote a narrative to get black men to go on the road to crime and violence and fit in the smooth world of white supremacy. And as they were in this world, they were being prevented from being able to actualize their potential. Now, as this was going on, Notorious B.I.G.'s wife, Faith Evans, gave birth to Christopher Wallace's second child, his child Christopher C.J. Wallace Jr., and was out here as he was raising a second child with a second baby mama, was out here going to try to maintain his thug image and as related to all of the criminal charges he was dealing with, and also dealing with the beefs as related to the entire gangster rap genre. And as he was out here, he was going to attend the Soul Train Awards and after party, and as he was attending this after party, which included guests like Aaliyah and members of the Bloods and Crips gang, this is where the party wound up closing early at 12:30 due to overcrowding, and this is what led to a situation where Notorious B.I.G. was looking to go out here and leave the party, and as he was looking to leave the party, a car pulled up in front of Notorious B.I.G.'s vehicle, and a individual dressed in a blue suit and a bow tie, according to reports, pulled out a gun and shot it and fired it at Notorious B.I.G.'s car, winding up shooting him 4 times, and this led to him going to the hospital, and he sadly wound up passing away at 1:15 a.m., and nobody really has ever found out who took the life of Notorious B.I.G., just like we recently found about the life of Tupac. But sadly, what happened to Notorious B.I.G. was because he did not have a father in his life to give him guidance or lay structure for him, he never got a chance to actualize his potential as a man, and he never got a chance to actualize his potential as a man because he did not know how to navigate life as a man. He did not have anybody to teach him that the world works differently for men, and a man has to watch how he moves in that world. Sadly, because he didn't get that guidance as from a father and men in his life, Notorious B.I.G. got caught up in the world of the streets, and as he got caught up in the world of the streets, he wound up on the road to becoming a man in crisis instead of the respectable man that his mother wanted him to be. And that's the saddest part about Notorious B.I.G. is that he wound up on this road to becoming a man in crisis all because his father walked out on him, and as his mother tried to overcompensate by working two jobs to give him everything that he wanted, he didn't get the intangibles of manhood that a boy can only get from a father. It's only a father who can teach a boy the male life skills and male survival skills that will allow him to be able to navigate life in the world. Because a boy who grows up on these streets, yes, he may learn some things that will help him learn how to survive, but he won't learn essential skills like critical thinking, the ability to use logic and reason, the ability to problem solve and conflict resolve. Because if Notorious B.I.G. had those skills, he would have been able to squash the beef with the late Tupac Shakur. Moreover, he would have been able to navigate a course of his career similar to what I believe rapper Ice Cube or Will Smith was able to do, because those men had fathers in their lives, and because they had fathers in their lives, they could go out here and distance themselves from the whole narrative of gangster rap and the whole narrative of the gangster, which was a social construct that repackaged the entire idea of the black brute and repackaged the idea that a black man needed to be this in order to be real. But this whole construct of the gangsta was just, again, a repackaging of the entire caricature of the black brute, which is a violent, out of control black man who looks to do harm to others because he has no control over himself. And one of the things that beta males have is no control, because they have no father there to teach them discipline or self-control. And even though a beta male like a Notorious B.I.G. will get great success, he won't be able to hold on to it, and he won't be able to hold on to it because there's no man there to lay a foundation to teach him how to be able to conduct himself and learn how to move in areas outside of the streets, because a man has to know how to move outside of the streets if he wants to navigate situations like the entertainment industry. Because in the world of entertainment, a man has to know how to move and think critically and go out here and know how to go out here and use his male life skills and male survival skills to navigate a course in the world. This is what a man has to do in the world of business. And again, Notorious B.I.G., yes, he was notorious and he was a gangster, but sadly he wasn't really good as related to business, and this is the thing that led to his demise. Because if he had known how to move in the world of the streets and entertainment, he would have be alive today to be able to reap the success that he had gone out here and made. But sadly, what happened was Notorious B.I.G.'s memory has outlived him, and his legacy of music is gone on to become a classic. But his music would have possibly gone on to greater things, because I saw Notorious B.I.G. He had the potential to be a superstar, not only in the world of rap music, but he could have also been a great actor. I mean, the world was there for him, but because he did not have that foundation in manhood, he didn't know how to go out here and learn how to move and transition, similar to the way his producer Puff Daddy transitioned into P. Diddy. He didn't know how to move and transition, and sadly, because he couldn't move and transition and adapt, sadly, this is what led to Notorious B.I.G. going on to become a superstar who, while he was a great man, was still a man in crisis. Now, Notorious B.I.G. was again, great entertainer, and he was a major inspiration for me in creating the John Haynes villain, The Block, as I wrote him as a character who was 7 feet tall and 650 pounds, basically an exaggeration of Notorious B.I.G., and he was supposed to be a guy like Notorious B.I.G. running the streets and running the block, but when he winds up losing, he's a man with nothing to lose. And sadly, what happened with Notorious B.I.G. is that he passed away before I could ever get the chance to offer him that role. I always saw Notorious B.I.G. and his acting ability, and I thought he would have made a great version of the Block. And sadly, he never got to actualize his potential because he never got the life skills on becoming a man. And that's why he went from becoming a superstar rapper to winding up becoming another tragic story in the man crisis. Now, if you want to learn why so many celebrities like Notorious B.I.G. wind up ending their lives tragically because they learn dysfunctional life skills, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashware's The iBookstore and Google Play. And if you want to read the two stories that feature the character, the Block, that was inspired by Notorious B.I.G., you can pick up The Man Who Rules the World and John Haynes' The Man with Nothing to Lose in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find both of those books at other online booksellers in paperback format at Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Target, and you can also find them in digital format at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about Hollywood historical men in crisis, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. If that's all I have to say for this video, you can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and ebook, The Man Who Rules the World. John Haynes must bring together men and gods to overcome a threat that seeks to destroy the planet. The Man Who Rules the World. Now available in paperback and e-readers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.